What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Spring Deep Dive series, where I take a holistic look from that 50,000 foot perspective of all 138 teams that make up the Football Bowl subdivision as we start our initial prep for the 2026 college football season. And today we are going to reveal who ends up being my 136th ranked team at the FBS level, at least entering spring ball in the 2026 college football season. So, very excited to jump into our first Conference USA team, and we'll dive into that Conference USA team in a split second. So, but if you really do enjoy the content, make sure you go ahead real fast and hit that like button, as well as hit the subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. There's a lot of work that goes into the background in terms of being able to produce these videos as well as produce these rankings. So hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button real fast, that actually would really help me out tremendously if you could do those things. So, but with that said, let's go ahead and jump into that CUSA team. And from here on out, after this next team is revealed, we are going to bounce around a little bit because we are still dealing with the Louisiana Tech situation, with whether Louisiana Tech is going to be in the Conference USA or in the Sun Belt. I'm moving forward with the presumption that the Sun Belt is going to add Louisiana Tech in time for the upcoming college football season. But until the CUSA does release its revised schedule, most of the CUSA teams are going to have to be revealed at a later time. So if we're going out of order, that's what happens. So I'm just letting you know, just from the get go. But we can do this for Sam Houston because Sam Houston does come in as my 136 team, and we can talk about them both from a team perspective as well as from that holistic like schedule perspective, because Sam Houston does not have Louisiana Tech on their football schedule. So even with the revision, I don't imagine that there's going to be any changes made to their schedule. But if they do, we'll patch it up in July or something. In the meantime, though, for Sam Houston, I will say this: Phil Longo does come in, and he's going to have a decent amount to prove here in year number two, because after Sam Houston had the success that they did in the 2024 season, where we saw Sam Houston be a realistic competitor for the Conference USA title in a couple of years ago, Phil Longo takes over this program after Casey Keeler ends up departing and takes the head coaching job with the Temple Owls. And what we end up seeing instead is, hey, this team absolutely fell apart. They only managed to win a couple of games last season. So can Phil Longo get the ship right to where they're at least competitive again? And for me, when I was looking at this Sam Houston football team, I don't think this team is worse than last year, but I don't necessarily believe that they got significantly better over the course of the season either. What do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is when I looked at this team in the transfer portal, first and foremost, they lost a humongous piece in Cole Dietrich, who is somebody that not only was a really dependable piece on the offensive line last year, but this is someone that you look at and, hey, this is someone that could absolutely start at the power conference level. That's what Sam Houston had at their disposal, protecting the quarterback at any given time. Well, Colt Dietrich is no longer with the program because Colt Dietrich is now a member of the Washington Huskies. He's there via the transfer portal, and he's going to be taking care of Damon Williams instead of the Sam Houston Bearkats backfield. And they did their best to try to backfill. They did add Josiah Chenault, who is an interior offensive lineman. They got him from Kennesaw State. And surely enough, he is a all conference interior offensive lineman last year. Was on that All CUSA list. But, again, you're really worried about who's going to protect the blind side of your quarterback this fall. So that this offense can have a little bit more signs of life this upcoming season. They did also add Brian Bates as well. And Brian Bates transfers in from Delaware State, part of Jackson's program. Brian Bates had a good year with the Delaware State Hornets, 80 tackles, 7 TFLs in 2025. So I do think the defense is going to be a little bit better, particularly in the trenches. I will give that to the Sam Houston football team. But I think the offensive line is a push, and you're again still hoping for internal development within your building as well, because you're not getting a ton of production, at least in terms of notable guys, in terms of what you brought in from a production standpoint, right? So that's what we're looking at right now with the Sam Houston Bearcats. And Phil Longo's going to have to prove something. This is someone who is a first-time head coach at the FBS level. The Wisconsin stop for Phil Longo didn't turn out great either. So Phil Longo coming in here in year number two, needing to show progress, and he needs to show that he can right the ship here in Sam Houston, because this is a proud football program. This is a team where we're looking at Sam Houston this decade winning the FCS national championship, and even as recently as a couple years ago, they were in serious contention to win the CUSA. So let's go ahead and take a look at their schedule real fast. So for Sam Houston, I don't have a ton of benefit of the doubt for Bearcats, even though they do have that FCS national title. This is a newer FBS program, and they haven't been recruiting at a very high level. And then you also have the recent coaching change with Casey Keeler leaving for Temple. So that factors into Sam Houston coming in as my 125th ranked program. So a little bit more benefit of the doubt compared to a Charlotte or compared to a UMass, who we previously went and revealed, but still not very much benefit of the doubt, right? So gotta get hydrated real fast. So I do think that off rip they do have a winnable game in the Nichols Colonels. I actually expect them to win that game. That's still a solid FCS program, so you never know whether that's why don't have them as a quote unquote safe win. But there's still, a few games here that you're looking at, and it's considered winnable games as well. New Mexico State. New Mexico State has been gutted ever since Jerry Krill left to be an assistant at Vanderbilt, and the Aggies, even a couple years after that move, have seemed to have not really recovered from that experience, and you do have them at home. So that's certainly you're looking at circling as a winnable game as well. Missouri State. Missouri State does have a brand new coaching staff. What is Casey Woods looking like as a head coach? It's the first time that he's going to be in charge of his own operation. Very good offensive coordinator when he was at SMU, but a little bit of a different ball game when it comes down to running your own operation from as a CEO versus just being in charge of the offensive execution on game day. So we'll see what Casey Woods is. We'll have a good idea of what Missouri State might look like under Casey Woods after we get to about the halfway point in the season, which is when this game would take place. You are playing them on the road, though, so that is going to be a uphill battle. And then Mid Tennessee State, and actually, I'm just looking at this now. I actually made a mistake on the graphic. I didn't realize that until now. But Mid Tennessee State for them actually should be a winnable game, right? Because you're looking at Mid Tennessee State. This is not a very comprehensive football team in their own right. Not much better than what you got going on, but you have them at home. So I in retrospect, I have Sam Houston winning a couple of games. I had a typo. That actually is should be one of the wins that they could get here, even though it's still going to be a toss-up game for sure. But I am for now giving Sam Houston that win. I think that they'll also possibly win the New Mexico State win game as well, with that being at home. And again, the Aggies have been gutted since the day that Jerry Krill did leave, and Tony Sanchez just hasn't gotten the ship rolling as of yet. So, and then Mid Tennessee, another thing about the Blue Raiders is not being incredibly high on Derek Mason, who, even though has that power conference experience, hasn't figured out how to win consistently yet in Murfreesboro. So, I'm seeing them actually as a free win team instead of the two wins. But again, because this is one of the lesser FBS programs, there is still that world yet again where, hey, we don't know. We're not. I'm not guaranteeing any wins either. So there's a world that exists where Sam Houston can go winless in the 2026 campaign. So I just want to definitely keep that in mind. But hey, that being said, that is my 50,000-foot analysis on the Sam Houston Bearkats entering the 2026 college football season. Definitely let me know what you guys think down below in terms of how you guys think Sam Houston is going to do. But with that being said, really appreciate you guys tuning into the deep dive series for the Sam Houston Bearcats. If you've been enjoying the content, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, as well as hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new. But with that, this is Jake of College Football Red Zone signing off. Hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.